Hey guys, there's no sound from Zoom. No sound. No sound.
Recording in progress.
Well, yes. That should do it.
Can you hear
Thank
us
you.
now? There she is.
Okay. Anything else going on? It's been a couple of weeks since we met. Anything else going on in your world that we know about?
Everything's normal.
Okay.
I was at Pond Road yesterday and you were loading up one of the silver bullets so it could be taken away and
Right,
not coming back.
it's not coming back.
And you're gonna load up the other one, you're gonna keep that in reserve.
The green one?
Yeah,
Yeah, we're gonna keep that, as a backup.
Yeah.
In the event, the generator doesn't work, if we lose power, we can still stay open,
Okay.
because there has been some issues with the generator lately.
Yeah, we actually talked about keeping one. Did somebody take the other one back?
No,
not yet.
We sold it to, I mean, we got rid of it. Would we?
we haven't got rid of anything.
Oh, okay.
It was being filled so that it could be removed slowly rather than empty.
It was not all those.
Yes. Okay, miscellaneous update. Transfer station from the select board meeting. The select board has agreed to go ahead with applying for the transfer station license. There was some discussion back and forth on it, but in the final, the vote was, one select person was not there, and the vote was 3 people to 1 saying, yes, let's go ahead with it at the moment, so.
Once they take you for doing that.
Yeah.
Of course, they didn't really talk much about recycling. Nicole had asked me to put some slides in recycling in, which you saw, but that wasn't on the agenda. So I put them together. They were there if we needed them. We did talk about just kind of the usage fees or the usage numbers, the graph that was in that. One of the things that they're looking to do, a couple of things in this, we'll be talking about this in a second, is that they want to understand, and this is again driven by Alan, want to understand how many people use recycling. And so one thought was to use a barcode and scan it every time you come in. There's some problems with that, both logistically as well as the cost involved with that. Another idea is that, the stickers that you get, to go to the recycling, make those annual stickers that you have to pay $5 or $10 for, kind of thing. So that was the other thing. And then what would happen is you'd know how many of those you sold every year. So that would give you some kind of usage information. I mean, we have information on how many trips people have made, but that is cloudy because you don't know. People only go once a month. If they go twice a month, if they go once every 2 months, it gets a little cloudy.
Do we have any indication of what the driver for that information is?
Yeah. Alan wants it.
Right, that part I kind of get, but it's just like, is
He has said in the past, and you can go back and look at this in meetings, that if it's not that well used, that he wants to use that as one of the pieces of information to can the program.
Yes, sir. I know you can't answer this. This is a rhetorical question. Do we have usage fees for any other program in the town like
No.
that? So
A bag, we pay garbage bag fees, so bag
I'm
fees.
just referring to like the age friendly. Does anyone know how many individuals use that program on a regular basis or? I don't know.
No, but if they do go that way, when we talk about the subsidy program, we could include that in subsidy program. I will say, in looking at the 2020 survey, there were multiple comments because they asked, would you pay for recycling? People in that were very against paying like on a per bag basis. That was back when it was collected. They were very against paying for that, but they did say they wouldn't mind paying $10 for a sticker kind of thing. There were multiple comments saying that. So that might not be the worst thing kind of stuff.
Just to point out that in our revised ordinance, I think the line is still in there that says recyclables will be accepted at no cost.
And I did look at that when I was going to look, we'll get to that. The recyclables, but the sticker is in a different part. And that's different. So we could still, the way it's worded right now, have some small fee for the sticker and the recyclables. So when you go every time, we're still at no cost.
Did you say we were coming back to the usage in the thing, or we're talking about it now, as far as numbers? I think we're talking about it now.
Well, let's go through
Okay.
the rest. Subsidy program, last week we were talking on May 6th. There was we wanted to figure what a reasonable subsidy program would be. The attorneys had told us that they wanted a subsidy program. We need to have some definition about it. One of you guys came up with the idea, which is great, is, if someone has a WIC card or something like that, that we could rely on that. Talked to Nicole about it briefly. Because we want to do something that's going to be very minimal administrative, not a burden. She says one of the people from the office may be able to come to our May 8th meeting so that we can, bounce it around with somebody that's an expert. One of the things Nicole and I talked about, Nicole seemed to be amenable to, maybe if you've got that kind of card, you come into the office, you get on a mailing list and they're mailed to you, and that way you can control the number of tickets that go out, and somebody's not just coming in every while and you have to remember, oh, you already came in this month. And so there are a couple of ways, but May 8th looked like a good time. Nicole's not looking for anything else really to go on staff or agenda until after we get done everything for the June 1st town meeting. The DEP, I just traded voicemails with the woman, Carla Hopkins at DEP, and she said they have no interest in looking at things ahead of time. Just, once the draft is adopted, within 30 days, they need to get it. So that's a pretty easy, we don't need to do anything on that one. Draft ordinance update. You guys saw, and I apologize that it was kind of last minute. I sent out the ordinance with all the legal changes accepted. The recycling stickers, we just had that conversation about the recycling sticker pricing. And that's a possibility. With that in mind, I did look at the draft and the way it's written, although Paul is correct, recyclables are free. The permit is written in a different space, and so there could be that. We'll have to look at it again to see whether or not we really want to say, because it doesn't say anything about any charges for the permit. Do we want to maybe put in there that this, this could be at a fee and fee to be determined by, select board kind of thing? So we'll have to take a look. Right now, it doesn't say one way or the other, so I think we could do whatever, and we may just choose to leave it that way.
Does anybody ever check vehicles coming in to see if they have a sticker?
We did. And I can check with surrounding communities that use the paid decal program. And just see, if their select board sets the fee or if that's on their town warrant. Have to get an idea.
Well, even if we had a fee for the sticker, that still wouldn't tell you whether people come in once a year or 3 times a week.
It'll tell you the number of households using the system, but not.
And that would be true whether you charge for the sticker or not.
Right, yeah, I'm guessing, questioning what's the need for the fee
Cover the cost.
of the ticket itself?
To cover the cost of detail and also somewhat defray the cost of the program. So decals are not gonna cost, let's say if they're $10 each. Nicole was talking about not just $10 a household, but $10 per sticker, which, we can have discussions about that. I would lean more towards $10 a household, 2 sticker limit. And we've got 2 sticker limit right now, and if you want another 2 stickers, you gotta pay again, but.
I think Richmond charges $15 for their decals. But I can check with surrounding communities.
That covers their trash too, for them to bring the trash in.
They don't collect trash over there.
But I mean, for them to bring in trash, probably gotta have that decal. Maybe.
You have to have the decal to use their transfer station, yes.
They don't have a trash program at all.
You're not,
There's no town trash
no,
collection.
there's not.
Well, according to state, they've gotta do something. Oh, and it can be a little bit, I'm not sure what that something is, though.
They may just be out of compliance.
I would hope not, but it's possible. So that's trash tag pricing, like I said, I think the way it's written in the ordinance, if you wanna look it up, it really doesn't talk, the permits don't talk about a fee at all. And we actually could.
That's 6.10.
Thank you. No more than 2 properties in household, permits shall not be loaned, sold, or otherwise transferred to another person. It does not say, it just says issued by the town on their vehicle. So I'm not sure that we've got to make any changes in this. I think it's flexible enough. I don't know, do you guys think we should add in there, there may be a charge or leave it as it is?
I think it would be good from the transparency perspective, yeah, says, because looking at this, following up on what Paul was saying earlier, you see free later on to collect recyclables, so I think just stating that.
Okay.
The
Yeah, the way it's worded.
may charge a fee for the permit would be
To cover the cost of this.
yeah,
But they're looking to cover more than the cost of the sticker.
The way it's written under the recyclables in 8.1. Says that towns will operate a recycling program that accepts all properly separated recyclable materials generated within the town without fees. And then it's like no cost, it says without fees,
and I guess the other point thing when it comes to that is that is kind of in our general section, so if the fee is for recycling, is what happens if someone just came in to remove accounts for bulky waste. By rights at that point, to come to the facility, you would need that decal, and if that decal is for recycling only.
That's a good point. Ryan, what do you? I mean, bulky waste is gonna come in a separate entrance anyway. Maybe we just say,
No. Well, everything will come in the same entrance.
oh, I think that was transfer. Okay.
The way it's written in 610 is if you deliver acceptable material to the transfer station or municipal recycling, you guys have a sticker.
So if we want to peel that out for recycling, then I think we'd have to look at that. Or do we just leave them combined?
Use of,
Yeah,
use of the facility.
Yeah,
yeah, use of facility.
just leave them
I would
combined.
say transfer facility, but
I guess where we're going with that, it's no longer a recycling sticker,
Yeah,
it's a facility sticker.
yep.
And we define it as transfer station.
so what do we think? Change language in that a little bit to indicate that the stickers may be available with a fee
I think it's sentence at the tail end.
to be selected, to be set by select board.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever we use elsewhere for the select board setting the fees.
Yeah. Anything else on trash tag pricing? Right, Ryan, I think this one we're looking for some of your expertise, as we talked about last time when unfortunately you weren't able to be with us. Again, we're down to the hauler fee. Leah had suggested, the attorney had suggested to us that if we're going to give permits or whatever we call it to in like Riverside independent haulers, that there could be some kind of administrative program for it. So the question is, first off, how many do we have? I mean, how much revenue are we getting from those haulers?
It varies, so this year there was 4 applications that went out. If you don't know how many in the future there's gonna be,
Yeah. So we got $400 this year?
we will,
Okay,
when the checks come in.
okay, so so the applications went out, the checks didn't come in. Is that,
January to January?
It's
January.
January 1, 7/31st, yeah.
okay, haven't made that, okay,
It's a calendar year, not a fiscal year.
does that? Did a app go out to the dump guys who have been ignoring you?
No, we're gonna take a different route. With them to get their attention.
What are we gonna do? with
I
them?
don't wanna,
Okay,
Does the town have the authority, maybe through this ordinance, to tell a hauler they may not come to this town?
yeah,
We do. Oh,
the current ordinance, you know, the old one from 30 years ago. Gives them the authority to, you know, you have to have the sticker. If you're gonna haul in town, you have to have this, you have to have it. And so if you're not having it, the current ordinance would allow some kind of action. And that ordinance also does say, talk about some kind of action, so. So anyway, the question we were asking at last meeting, we wanted to defer this because we wanted definitely your input. Is the view worth the climb, like $400 to develop some kind of administration around those?
I believe it is.
Okay.
I believe it is because it's not so much about the money. As it is
Reporting them.
reporting their hauling
Mhm.
back so that I can turn that information into the state. So. If the permits were free. I don't think people would respond.
the information you get from them is more important than the fee. Am I reading that
I think so, yeah.
correctly?
Yeah, I mean, because the fee is minimal, you're talking less than $1,000.
Right. Can we do anything like, well, the fee will be, pick a number, $500. if you, at the end of the year, you provide us your numbers, we will rebate your fee, we will,
Oh, that's an interesting
for
idea.
next year, just maybe that would incentivize, maybe some of them to give us these numbers.
Yeah, I think that's above my pay grade
Mine too.
to make that decision. That's,
But is that?
I mean, it's something we could,
but
bring
is
up
that
to
a
the
big
select.
deal? Didn't we?
Would it make any difference?
How much trouble have we been having getting the information that you need?
No trouble.
Okay.
No problem. The haulers, we've had no problems with them. It's, the new smaller ones coming on scene that don't want to follow the ordinance.
No, these fly by night pickup here and there, guys.
Not necessarily them. It's, I mean, like the dump guy, that's a national outfit. They should comply.
Yeah, no.
They should follow the letter of the ordinance and they're refusing.
Which,
They're refusing just the conversation. That, it's.
Yeah, they hang on, you don't have.
So I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go a different route.
guys are into enforcement.
A little bit.
So you, now. We go that way and that's fine. What process? Because that's one thing Leah said, we really have to have a process and have to have it. Maybe in some of the side documents that we're talking about to this ordinance, need to have it. Discussed in those, here's the process, here's what they have to do. I mean, we're not taking, at this point, I know we're not inspecting any of the trucks. Are we asking them if they have appropriate insurances and all of that? Are we doing any verification? What are we doing? Because that's one of the processes we'll want to make sure we've got some language and parameters around.
Right. I have never checked on. I've never laid my eyes on an insurance policy for
Okay.
any of the haulers other than our.
Have or no, and then make them sign under,
It's not on the application.
okay.
It should be a fairly simple thing for them, if I get asked for my insurance all the time, it's just, I call up my insurance agent, they fax it to whoever wants it.
Right.
It's a phone call.
And we may not even need to do that, but we might want to take a look at what's the form they fill out and have them sign under penalty of perjury or, making sure that they're holding the town harmless. So it may be something that form needs to be, it may be as simple as just, does the form need to be revised? To ask some other liability kind of questions, making sure that it's signed by an authorized representative of their company. And under the penalties of perjury or whatever, false statement or whatever. I mean, it may be that simple. I don't,
Out of curiosity, so the basis of this form is, I remember we talked about this on the public hearing, it really. So you can give the state what the state wants, is that? So if that is the objective with this form and the sole objective, do we need anything else?
I think we want to know what vehicles they have. I would think we'd want to know that they're insured. Now, whether we have to double check and go through that, but I mean, we want to
Why
know
do
that
we
they've
need to know
got.
that?
Why do we need to know what vehicles they have?
Because we see them around town, we want to know that they're the appropriate, that they're not, it gives us a way to say. Okay, we know that. John Doe is, there's John Doe Trucking, we know he's covered, I would think we'd want to know about their vehicles,
I don't have any issue,
I don't need to know what they're hauling with.
okay,
We've not had problems in the past. Every truck that comes through town is lettered. We know who's in town.
okay. So maybe it's just something that. More a legal thing that says they will provide us information. What is the form asked for right now anyway? Is there a form? I thought there was a form they filled out.
There's an application, yes.
What does it ask for?
It asks for a number of dumpsters, how many they haul, what time, it's all about what they're picking up. We don't ask them what type of truck they're using or,
Okay, and that's only, well, one of the things the ordinance does talk about is that trucks have to have some kind of of control on them so that they don't leak. They've got to have some kind of control that there's a cover on it so stuff doesn't flow off of it, or it's somehow, and I forget how it's worded. But there's some of that, and maybe that form needs to be looked at to just say, I acknowledge that, per the ordinance, my vehicles all meet the standards that they, as laid out in the ordinance, if they don't leak and they don't do that. So maybe we don't need to know that, but it would be nice to have them certified that, and maybe the form even says, here's what the ordinance says, please certify that your, whatever vehicles you're using meet these standards. Because I doubt they're going and reading our ordinance. I mean, nobody does that, and that's fine. But if we put it out, say our ordinance, in the town of Buckingham, trucks must meet these following standards.
Could you bring a copy of the application?
Yeah, if I don't have access to the H drive here, otherwise I'd bring it up. Yeah, it's not gonna copy.
Yeah, that's fine.
Just send it. So we look at it.
And does this fee apply to, one-time construction dumpsters too? Haulers for those?
If you were a commercial hauler, it would apply to you. So if you, in the definition, you go by the definition of commercial hauler in the ordinance.
That
So
also,
the next time you're about somebody's floor and have a dumpster come, to put it in.
I put it right in the back of my truck.
No.
It would.
Oh.
Carpet number, didn't have it, so.
Okay, so it may be as simple as just revising the form. And Brian, you're gonna send us a copy of what the form has right now, and then making sure that they're signing off that, they're agreeing to all that's they need to do.
I think just a little line that says town solid waste. Ordinance is available at Bogan.com, blah, blah, and
But we can even cite, to make it even easier, we could cite just the little pieces on what the trucks need to do, and then say for more information.
yeah, so I can keep it a simple one page.
Oh, yeah. Well, is it one page now?
It is one page,
Okay.
So the other thing,
but the ordinance is listed on it.
Okay.
the only other thing might be to give them a heads up that these are the numbers we're gonna be asking for. So
It
be
sounds like,
tracking this all year.
you asked for that information right up front in the application. Is that
Ask them from the prior year.
prior year? Okay.
So if somebody new comes in who hasn't done business in the prior year,
You gotta start somewhere, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
But is there anything that sums up what you're gonna be asking at the end of the year?
No, there's nothing on that, on the document. For a new hauler,
Maybe.
that would no.
Well, let's take a look at it, because we can maybe make enough tweaks to it that it will fill what Leo was thinking about as far as a little more process to it without adding it to be onerous. So, yeah, Brian, I think, in your spare time, you can just email that to the group, that would be terrific. Okay, now the next thing on the agenda was talking about the draft. You guys have it, I'm not expecting you to have read it. I did 7.1, and there are a couple other places you can see, I did put in alternates to remove the word curbside. Where it is. I mean, for some reason, I thought I'd highlighted those, but it didn't show up in mine.
I can see them.
It's in a different.
I put it in a different font, try to do that, so. Our thought on that was that was gonna be something we asked at a public hearing, like a public weigh-in, are we still there? On that,
This was the whole, I think at that point, yeah, we were split 2-2.
Yeah.
Column. Yeah, I mean, I guess the public hearing.
Okay.
On to it, but I guess if you know how that's gonna end up, and I think you said that.
Yeah.
but then, and let's ask the question.
I say so.
I mean, I appreciate where you guys are coming from, we're gonna ask the question to you. Which brings us to the next item, which is, now that we've got a little more time, public hearings. Thoughts on public hearings? When does the town meeting start?
I believe this one's scheduled for 9 AM.
Oh, okay. I'm wondering, since people are coming anyway, if we can somehow dovetail, at the end of it, obviously, if it's a 9 AM, but somehow dovetail on the end. It makes it
Nobody's gonna
long.
stick around.
I know.
I've been around to the end and
Yeah, no.
there's 20% left of that.
And 10% brings us.
I'm trying to think of a way to have a public hearing on this that really is gonna be good. I mean, I thought we had some good participation on Zoom, but that still was, what was it, 10, 12 people. I'd love for it to get more kind of input. You guys, any thoughts? Thoughts on timing, thoughts on,
I was gonna suggest that we dovetail with the different committees' public hearing, but that would be, I'm withdrawing that.
yeah, because we may have a different audience. There are some people that are
Yeah.
interested in this that are not interested in the comp plan, or vice versa. Or any other things that are.
I think give lead time, publicize it, multiple ways, and the people who aren't interested will show up.
Yep, exactly, because I think the last one kind of came up quick and
Yeah, that was.
if we advertise a month out, maybe that'll generate some more input.
We can look at the calendar, I think, May 5th. I mean, if we were to publicize it, because we're ready to have another public hearing, I think. We'll be meeting before then, but not May 5th, May 8th. Which I know we wanted to have people come and talk about the subsidy program, but that's one of our regular meetings.
I can't be here May 8th either.
Pardon?
I can't be here May 8th either.
Okay. Let's look at calendars and find a decent time.
22nd,
I am unfortunately not around May 26th.
May 15th.
Yep.
It's possible. Can we put that as tentative? I've got a couple of things to check before.
May 15th?
15.
The odds of May.
That's the third, wait a minute, that's the third Wednesday.
Snowmobile coming way down at that point.
Oh,
That's all we.
I appreciate it.
I got
So
you.
our last meeting's in April. Appreciate that though.
All right, so May 15th, tentative public hearing.
I would love to get that nailed down. I'd love to have people come. I'd love to do some of it in person, but
Yeah, well, we have time. I can actually get that in the May newsletter.
Great.
okay.
Um,
I'll check some stuff out and let you know.
And make sure the room's available.
yeah.
That would be helpful.
Right,
You know,
let's check that right now.
the step after that is to bring it to the select board. So I think we need to see what goes on at the next public hearing. Changes, if any. I think at this point, since we've had public input, we've had legal input, I cannot anticipate that there's gonna be a lot.
Had a few select board members. There too, so.
Yeah, and we've had some that have been to the meetings and have done so.
That will be after the town meeting, probably.
Yes.
I was gonna say, you kind of, okay,
Yeah, no, let them get through town meeting.
agreed.
And again, in the summertime, I'm looking to ease back on our meetings because it's summer in Maine. But we'll figure that one out, go to the select board after. And then the effective date, we were talking about a January 1 effective date. If we're doing January 1 effective date, we're looking probably in November for a special town meeting. Now, the thing about I'm sorry, go ahead, Paul.
I was gonna say, I think we probably need to run that through Nicole at
Yeah.
some point, but that might just be as simple as a third ballot on Tuesday,
Oh, that's a good idea.
I don't know exactly how that can work out, but
I think that's
Brian,
exactly,
do you want to ask Nicole what I think it needs to be a town meeting, a special town meeting, so I'm not sure the ballot, I love the ballot idea, but I'm not sure.
yeah, I'm
that
just saying,
fits.
we definitely had to. That was,
Can you ask
Totally.
Nicole whether or not we could do it ballot wise?
I will.
Thank you. That would be awesome if we could. I'm concerned that we may not be able to, but let's ask the question.
If you want more than 200 or 400 people, voting on it,
Yeah,
you'll get that and then some, because.
well, that's some of
So
my.
that's the benefit, right? I guess to that degree, because you get,
Yeah,
Yeah,
the only drawback is there's no discussion.
yeah, there has to be a public hearing a month before it, and
yeah,
there
we could
that
have
would be a
another
public
public,
hearing.
we definitely could do another public hearing.
But anyway, that's we'll wait for Nicole and go from there.
So, I like that idea. I like that a lot.
So May 15th is empty on the calendar.
Good.
Philip,
Okay.
I can book the room.
Again, let me just check a couple of things first before we
Okay.
100%. I mean, if you can reserve it, we can always unreserve it.
Reserve it.
Yeah. Um, And then the other thing, I have to, solid waste ordinance, we might have to make the change if we're going January 1, we've got to say 2025. Can't believe it already. I didn't have anything else other than, I think one of the things we're gonna need to start planning for is the work we're going to have to do, a couple of bigger pieces of work. One with the ordinance, start identifying and listing all of the separate documents, lists and everything. So go through it and figure what has to be enumerated and then talk about developing what those are. So to make sure and have a list, and I can come up with what that list will be. So that's what,
We've got the current list to work from. Oh, you're talking about another list of documentation.
yeah, so go through all of this and places where we say it'll be on the website.
Right.
Or places where we say it's separate. We need to make sure that we capture every one of those and that we create whatever those documents are. So that's one big thing. The other thing I'm starting to think of is when we do lose Plummer, it's going to be a lot of work for us to evaluate what we're going to do. And given how, I mean, we started in August of last year, and it was just a whirlwind to try to get an RFP out. This time, we're not even getting an RFP out. We're really trying to find a new way to do it. We need to find out what's already out there. I think what's his name? Smith? What's his first name?
Kevin Smith.
Kevin Smith. I don't know. I mean, are there others like Kevin Smith that's got some model? What's Casella's model? I think Casella's going to be priced out of our range, but it might not be a bad thing for us to understand what their model is, so we can say, here's what the model is. It's too expensive. Here's the other alternatives. So we need to identify who is out there commercially that does anything. And we can do that by contacting other towns. I'm sure, Brian, you've got an idea. And then maybe start doing the work and trying to figure out, maybe having some of these people come, maybe just having phone conversations with them. But we're going to have to find out. And then I know one of the ideas that we had talked about was doing a real cost benefit if we're bringing it in-house. It means equipment. Now, Brian, this may be not a fit, but one of the things Nicole and I talked about, she was saying, if we had a roll-off truck, we could save $10,000 a year is the figure that she gave, and obviously that, could be refined, in transporting stuff if we had a roll-off truck, and so we didn't have someone come in to transport. We could also, if we had a roll-off truck, we could bring it down to, is it Eco Maine? Yeah, we could
You're
bring
talking
it,
about recycling and
yeah,
not.
recycling. So,
Correct.
but my question is, and I mentioned it to Nicole, but of course neither one of us know trucks, really. She probably knows it better than me. But if we were to bring it in-house, is there some way that a roll-off truck could be adapted so that it could fit a pickup need? And then we would have a truck that would be dual purpose, would save us $10,000 in transporting and allow us to go down to Eco Maine, which is less costly than Casella. And also we could use it as a pickup.
You would only be able to do that as if the residents brought their trash to a dumpster.
Okay,
I think it's too high.
Yeah, you'd be, once that roll off's up on the truck, the bottom of the container is 5.5 feet high.
but that truck couldn't be adapted in some way to, okay. I
Yeah,
was
the
just,
container would be this high, and when you're picking up 600 bags,
no, yeah, no.
That's a long ways to throw.
We're not looking for things that are not OSHA, so.
that using a roll off for transporting garbage would work if the residents brought it to the central area.
Okay,
But you wouldn't want to use it for outside.
Or like it is now with the silver bullet.
Yeah, it'd be on the ground.
It would just be a regular, it would be identical to our metal dumpster.
yeah, that was 100% very lowly rated in the surveys. The population is not interested in that at the moment. I was just trying to think if we were able to save money by getting a roll-off truck, if the roll-off truck was able to do the same thing, it's like, oh, so,
I
okay.
think the other thing would be, that $10,000 or that $10,000 potential savings may be reduced. Because now that we have a compactor, ideally we're not transporting as much, so that compactor probably gonna impact that math a little bit as well.
I'm not sure whether that was taken into consideration or not. Nicole just gave me that number recently. And we've had the contractor. Again, it was just a kind of a theoretical conversation. So I'm not looking to hold anybody to it. Other than I wanted to ask you the thought, if we were gonna take it in-house and we could find another place to save by getting one piece of equipment, that would be great. But it sounds like the trucks are too different. The needs would be too different. So I wanted to put out there, and I'm not sure how to break this particular project up. Whether we get the list of companies, commercial companies that do stuff at other towns, whether we split it up and we can talk about it. I'm just trying to plant seeds where, Paul, you take towns A, B, and C and you call them, ask them who they use. I take, this number of towns and we call them, you take those towns and you take other towns and we call them all up and see who they use. I think we know some of it, but not all. We get whoever you've got and then we start doing some calling and seeing what their models are. And how we do that. But that's something that we're going to have to think about. Hopefully next meeting, we can really delve into how you think this project could be done, but if you could do some thinking about it for next meeting.
My gut thought is it would likely have to be a central drop-off location or outsourced. Because the reality of if there was a collection curbside, would be what? 3 people would be needed to do that, maybe 2. 2 days a week, 6 hours a day, that's 12 hours a week. Are we really gonna get additional town employees for 12 hours a week? It just seems.
Right, you won't.
Yeah,
Thoughts, because I know you had talked about it at one point. What were you thinking?
Right, I mean, we would need an additional truck, and you can get a used garbage truck for
Okay,
30,000, 35,000.
but it's staffing it.
Compacting truck.
Yeah, just like Kevin Smith uses and rear loading Casella trucks and your standard garbage truck.
But then we're still talking staffing.
We would probably have to split up the town to a 2-day process, do half the town on a Thursday, the other half on a whatever,
Yeah.
a Tuesday.
Does Paul currently do it all in one day?
He does, but they have multiple drivers. It's not just one truck, they have 2 trucks out.
Okay. Anyway, I wanted to lay it out there because I'm a little concerned about timing, even though it feels like forever. So that our next meeting, maybe we can really delve into say, how do we start tackling this? So just think about it for future, how we start tackling. The other big project we have in front, and we've been talking about for a while, is just communication strategy. One of the things, you know, not everybody in town recycles. I mean, we'll never get 100%, but we can improve and, you know, help the people that work there right now and really do better about what needs to be recycled. I mean, there are some plastic things you gotta rip the cellophane label off of them. I didn't know that, just had to tell me that one. She's good, but you know, some of those things, how do we? Yeah,
What's this?
if you've got, let's say, a creamer that's in a plastic bottle, you know, we get all the milk creamers and they've got a film with the label on it. You gotta cut the film off and you can recycle the bottle and the film is not recycled. I mean,
Want me to do that?
yeah, who knows?
It's, so you think of it as a Pringles can. Okay, Pringles cans are not recyclable because it's multi-materials section. And that's exactly.
Rim off at the top and bottom off, then you've got a cardboard.
You could. You could, yeah. Just wanted to break it down.
That's just one thing, and I did at one point talk to Ecogain about it. I've got the contacts of people that are willing to help us with that. I think that's future. I just wanted to make sure that people were thinking about that and how we need to do it. Because that's, we still don't want to lose that. Next meeting, excuse me. Next meeting is scheduled April 10th. Is everyone all set with that?
So. Yes.
Anything else? I mean, this is a short one, which is good.
I won't make you.
April 10th, and then probably the
You gonna be able to
20th.
zoom in or? Okay. If you can get ideas on the project of a new trash hauler,
I'll put something.
yeah, send it to me, let it go to your buddy,
See you on see.
that one, whatever. That'd be great. That'd be great. Anything else?
Next meeting after the 10th would be the 24th,
I believe so.
just to get it on the calendar.
Yep. Anything else? All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So.
All in favor? Sorry, can you shut that down with the second?
Thank you very much.
Let's see here.